Welcome back to Packs and Picks. I'm fresh off my first draft of Shadows of the Galaxy, so I thought I'd do a quick video going over my experience, talk about the deck I made, some of my early thoughts on the format. So let's dive in. First thing I want to talk about is the leader draft. That's the part I remember most from the draft. I don't remember all the picks, but I do remember the leader draft. So my first pick, I had between Boba, Bossk, and Lando, and I ultimately chose Boba just because of my experience at the pre-release. I felt like I didn't see a lot of bounties going around at the pre-release, so Bossk was out for me. Lando, if you remember, I don't have a card of him to show you, but he can play a smuggle card for a reduced cost, but you have to blow up one of your resources. So I felt like that was going to set me back a little too much, and I couldn't guarantee that I was going to get a good smuggle card. So I ultimately chose Boba because I figure, hey, there's going to be a lot of keywords on units that I'm drafting anyway. So my first pick was Boba. Then I was past Gar Saxon and another heroism leader. I can't remember who it was, but I was kind of deciding between these two, and then I noticed that my opponent was going to pass me Rey. So I figured, well, I should probably pick Gar so I have at least one villainy hero or one villainy leader. So that in the draft, if I end up with villainy, at least I've got a villainy leader. So I ended up picking Gar, and then Rey was passed to me third. So these are the three heroes that I ended up with in the draft. Now, during the draft, villainy actually ended up getting cut really early, so I was kind of cornered into heroism. And the table overall didn't settle into their colors till about halfway through pack 2, but I was fortunate that several of the drafters to my right weren't drafting command, so I was getting a lot of great green cards, as we'll see as I lay out the deck here next. So ultimately, I did end up going with Rey, and I went Command Rey, which I think ended up being a great choice for a couple reasons. And I'll just go ahead and start laying out the deck here. So Rey is looking for a lot of 2 power units, or 1 to 2 power units that she can buff up. And I was fortunate in that a lot of the cards coming my way just happened to be 2 power units. Also got some other good cards at the top end of the curve as well. So this is the draft deck that I ultimately ended up with, and talk through some of the effects that I found that I really liked in the format. So one of the first things, this deck ended up being really consistent. You'll see I got a lot of 2 copies of cards. We got 2 Clone Deserter, 2 Follower of the Way, 2 Villager Protectors, 2 Reputable Hunters, 2 Take Captives, 2 Adelphi Patrol Rings. So the deck itself played very consistently. It's like the most consistent draft deck that I've ever played in any game, really. And that really helped me out a lot, I think, during the draft, was just being able to have a game plan and play that out almost every game that I came across. Another card that overperformed for me, and I think it's a little bit better in Rey, is Clone Deserter. So this is one that I overlooked a little bit in the preview season, being a 1 cost 2/3, obviously undercosted for its stats with that drawback of drawing a card on the bounty. After playing it in the draft, especially with Rey, being able to play this on turn 1, put that experience counter, and on the second turn of the game be attacking with a 3/4 restore 1, that bounty of draw a card, that drawback, just really wasn't there. And this card ended up really being great for me in the games that I played. Another thing overall that I really liked about this deck was the line of play that you had. So oftentimes in my games, first turn I would play Clone Deserter, I would put an experience counter on it with Rey. Second turn, I would play a Follower of the Way, and then I put an experience counter on it with Rey. Third turn, I play a Village Protectors and put an experience counter on it with Rey. So you're kind of playing like one turn behind, so to speak, as far as resources go, but you're just building up this really impressive board pretty consistently with Rey. Something that I really liked as I played all my matches. Another thing that really helped this deck, that a card that I liked in previous season and turned out to be great in these games, was Adelphi Patrol Wing. So it's something that was really great. Early on, I could build out my board, try to take the initiative, and then just hammer away with the Adelphi Patrol Wing. Something that I kind of overlooked as I was doing the draft, I was getting a little bit light on space units, and the fact that this art shows an X-Wing in atmosphere, I was like, oh, it's probably a ground unit, but I looked again and it's actually a space unit. So this really helped me out, having 2 of them in the deck also was really great. This is a great common, and if you're in heroism and can go into command, definitely something that I would look at. Another card that I really liked, I didn't have a ton of Mandalorians, but the Armorer, this turned out to be a great card for me. I usually had one follower of the way out on the battlefield, out on the arenas, but when I played the Armorer, so getting a couple shield tokens out there just really slows down the game and really puts up a big roadblock for your opponents, and something that I really liked with the Armor. I could see if I knew earlier in the draft that I was going to have this and I was going to be building, I could draft around Mandalorians, I would have definitely picked up more Mandalorians than I did. But the Armor was great. I also ended up with a decent amount of interaction with 2 Take Captives, a Discerning Veteran. Fell the Dragon ended up being very great for me. Played a lot against Jabba's Rancor, and that did a lot of work for me. And overall, that's the deck. I had a great time with the format. Really good matches, really interactive matches. Shadows of the Galaxy seems like a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun in my draft. Make sure you get out to your local game store and do some drafts, and I will see you next time.